project account.
So there's two other meetings where the public was involved in the presentation of the garage and the finance.
You need to have overwhelming public support.
I would like to quote Joyce Haddon, who has used this phrase many times: if they don't come, they're not interested.
Probably right.
We had filled this whole room with people and Raymond.
It really was not sparsely attended. It was, the room was filled more than it was tonight for the public hearing.
Approval of this thing. There was a lot of questions asked about the project. There was no disapproval.
This really isn't a time for public discussion.
Go ahead, Spence.
Wait a minute, this really isn't a time for public discussion.
Well, wait a minute. Wait, that's not fair. With all due respect to Bob, you're letting him discuss it. Why can't you let...
Because Bob is chair of the Highway Garage Committee.
It's either public discussion or it's not.
All right, Spence, go ahead.
I just have a question. If you're starting this capital project today, where'd you get the money to pay for the survey and the site work that was already done last year? That's what I don't understand. So you've already spent that money, and there's no capital project in place. So, you know, what do you do? Retro that or what?
We had $50,000 in that.
The previous town board had funded the Highway Garage Committee.
It was,
But there was no established capital project that the town board had voted on.
Allowed for survey, site work, all that stuff that's already been done. I just don't, I understand the concept of a capital project, I just don't understand how you started it last year, now you're just starting it again now.
Already started it. You already had 3 public hearings.
Carol?
I understand, and I know that there were 2 public hearings, and I was involved in them. And the second public hearing was the same as the first public hearing. And we get in charge for every public hearing.
The third one will be
But,
the same.
and forgive me for this, it's my purchasing background. I don't see a process to get where we need to go. I don't see a process of where the funds are going to be laid out. I don't see a process of how many bids we're going to be put out. I don't see any of this spelled out. And I know Ray's, our accountant's work was based on this is how much we can take out of the fund balance, this is how much we're going to have to get the note for. I didn't see anybody addressing the technical issues that are going to go into making the process work. And that's where my concern would be, and I didn't hear anything.
Well, what our town attorney has said is that this step is the first step in that process.
And we do have...
Turn Morris Associates on this project and start with the design. Then the committee really goes to work. The committee goes in there and scrutinizes every line, every dot, everything else, and get going. And that's where you can develop costs and committee, all of this stuff for this project. You're not going to find out what all of these electrical and mechanical things are going to happen until the bids come in. That's quite a way. We have to take the estimate of $1.75 million.
That wasn't one of my questions. That wasn't one of my questions. My question is, I would tend to think, you surveyed everybody who was in this room, and you're right, it was a full room. Okay, last August, when it was presented, nobody talked about the process to get this done. They talked about $1.7 million. They talked about, and the guy from Morris Associates, Ray, was here, and it was like, we were at the end of the process. And I think the town has a right to know what this process is from the beginning. Were we hiring Morris? Did we send out a bid? What did we give?
Carol, we have regulations set down by the state about procurement. We have a procurement policy in this town. That is what we will follow when we get to that point with this.
But we've already spent money.
There were already...
This was voted.
When the Highway Garage Committee began, when this
year.
current Highway Garage Committee was formed, there already were plans. Because this project, the idea for a new highway garage was actually initiated by Tom Kelly many years ago, who was supervisor many years ago, 10 years ago, all right? There were already plans. Then the plans were just not acted on. Then Morris was hired at that point, and Morris was the engineering firm that drew up these plans. In order not to to go back to square one, the new current Highway Garage Committee continued with Morris to do the preliminary work so that they could have a public hearing, so that we could get to the beginning of establishing a project. If we establish, once the town board establishes the project, this does not, establishing the project doesn't commit to the expense. It means you can get finalized plans, which will be the next step. If at any point the town board decides to end the process, this is null and void.
Let me ask you it in a different way. Do we have a written
It's not a
contract?
public hearing.
It's all right, Carol, go ahead.
Do we have a written contract with Morris Associates?
We do not have a written contract with Morris Associates.
Okay, so.
But we would. Or we could have it with another engineering
But we
firm.
already
But
said-
the idea has been not to go back to square one, because they had already done this. Had we looked at it, had the highway garage committee not taken the plans we have, it would have cost the town much more.
So how, it's not making sense, it's backwards.
Well,
We
Bill
need
just
to-
explained the
We need
process.
this resolution voted on fast so that we can generate a contract with Morris Associates and start the project.
Well, you're obviously not going to vote for it. You've got these two guys.
No, Bill.
We shouldn't discuss it anymore. We should
Bill,
just forget it.
resolution.
All right, I'd like to say something. I've put the motion up to pass the resolution. Johanna has seconded it. So I think I'd like to just take a board vote, because it seems to me the board isn't going to
I
approve
have a
it.
question,
So-
Bill.
Go ahead.
I know Morris, I believe part of their 116,000, I think it was maybe 28,000 to go to bid for the draw up the plans, spec books, everything. Now, is that what are you saying that Morris needs to do the plans and the specs prior to a public hearing?
I was under the impression when we had the special meeting, and we had Morris and Carol, I was mistaken. But Bill said that we needed those plans before we had the public hearing.
No. And I spoke to Ray today, we don't
But
need
now we don't need
plans.
those plans. as part of-
Well, the only difference would be that you would be having a public hearing with a general idea of what the garage is, and that, which is what we have now,
It's a
or
site
you'd be
plan.
having a public hearing with finalized
If we had
plans.
a public hearing today, it would present the same thing that we already have. Because we haven't gone into any other detail other than what the committee put into that floor plan of what we want. Okay? One other item that's come up since then, we wanted a lift in there, in the garage. We didn't have that in there. But nevertheless, that would come, when we start working on this plan. We've got to cover the type of heat we need, the type of power, all of these things have to be determined yet.
Well, that's in the specs, that's to come up with the spec. But in order for the public information, you don't need the specs. You need a general, which Ray said he could do he has the site plans. He has brochure of the floor plan of the building, the
It's the
proposed
same-
building.
It's the same thing we've already seen
He
3
has
times.
specifications already in the plan that he presented.
Mhm.
There are specs. He
Yeah.
shows the cost of the engineering and the different
I'm not comfortable with allocating any of the money.
I guess
To go to a public hearing.
what I'm thinking, Chris, is that if generally you, a town board member, if any of us are generally in favor of the need for a highway garage, it is